Henry Charles Bukowski, born Henrik Karl Bukowski on the 16th of August 1920 in Ardenich, Germany, is one of the most prevalent writers in modern literature, breaking out at the age of 49, signing a deal with Blacksparrow Press Publishing, who would continue to give his other works too, and saw him write his first book under Post Office. Though this great wordsmith was not one forged from love like Fitzgerald, or a chaser of characters like Kerouac, rather Bukowski was beauty and pessimism. Bukowski was not the hot writer who found success at 22, living the life of luxury, swanning round parties with those of the same ilk, finding his creative ability within his pain and pleasure. No, Bukowski was a sad, miserable soul who had been beaten down by the bastards in his childhood, adolescence and adulthood. He was a bastard because of it. This saw Bukowski take on the skin he was given, and it wasn't a nice one, but it was beautiful. He wrote from a place which the common man and woman has hidden within them, and one which many don't even hide. Bukowski wrote of the shit, the sad, the lonely, the real. He wrote of his world and many others. No one would say Bukowski is a nice guy from his work, but perhaps what is nice is that Bukowski shared the truth of his life. He didn't paint over the cracks with lies or exaggeration. He pulled them open, even further until those cracks were no more awkward than the non-cracked parts. Bukowski is someone who helped so many see how pessimism really can hold so much beauty.
What kind of a peace do I mean, and what kind of a peace do we seek?
I first discovered Charles Bukowski in my school library when I was about 13, but the librarian would not allow me to take out Harmon Rye as it was part of the adult section, which my mum had given me permission for. However, I thought that it sounds cool, having no understanding of who or what the book was about. I would also see it up on the wall of the literature corridor and gaze at it each time I walked through my lesson, but would never read it. Though it was the start of lockdown this year, and I thought, well, I'll go out and buy some books before the shop shut, as I wanted to try and remain somewhat educational after having no school. So I grabbed Harmon Rye, a book which had eluded me for so many years, and what I found was for the first time in my life I couldn't put a book down. It was hilarious and so sad and true all at the same time. It made every single embarrassing and adolescent thought or action which you had taken feel so small, but so relatable to Bukowski's wild brashness. I finished it in about a week and remember being so captured by the last chapter, which culminated the entire philosophy of Bukowski, exactly how it is, but I'll talk of that later. I began to watch clips of Bukowski, with my favourite being his interview with a Dutch interviewer, where he sits drinking, not having an interview but a conversation. He spills about how pretentious and unreal so many of the writers are, once they get famous at a young age. Those writers were in complete juxtaposition to Bukowski's life and career. Those successful, young writers who have to write of the struggle of what every aspiring writer would want: beautiful partners, parties and luxurious life. Whilst the writing Bukowski produced was the root of that, the suffering writer who truly is suffering in an unacknowledgement, failure, poverty, loneliness, and that is what made Bukowski and so many who have had to struggle to produce the best art, literature or anything, because everything goes into it, because there is nothing else for those people but their passion. The crowd is the gathering of the weakest. True creation is a solitary act. Though the philosophy of Bukowski can be taken to a direction which will not benefit the average person and could be terrible advice, but if you really look at all of Bukowski's self-loathing, hatred and jealousy, what you can really see is beauty. What Bukowski sees is what everyone sees, but he just says it, or writes it rather. He's a man who was beaten by his father to the point of no longer caring. He never fitted in. He had such serious acne that he was pretty much bedridden. He lost his virginity to a hooker at 26. Bukowski is a man who seemed to constantly lose in everything he did. But him being that loser would ultimately lead him to become one of the most influential writers of the 20th century. He's adored by many, preached by others, and was a major success. What Bukowski is beauty and pessimism. He's someone who never really let the bastards grind him down. What he did was allow every bastard who did try to grind him down, give him the beautiful, hilarious lines, which have gone on to make so many, just like Bukowski, smile at their own life and stories. Looking at Bukowski's work, you could so easily be mistaken in believing that its philosophy and teaching sits in the notion that you should give up on life, that you will always be put down, but rather like my dad said to me when I was reading Bukowski, he's a great writer, but not someone who I would make a hero of or try to copy. And that's exactly how I feel about Bukowski's work, and how I'd like to believe Bukowski would feel. Do what you want to do because you want to do it. It doesn't matter if you were born in a millionaire or in a shithole. Make the most of whatever shit comes your way. And at the end of Harmon Rye, you see Bukowski lose a boxing match to a little kid who was a broken boxer. Everything in the book has led to Bukowski finally getting his day, only to lose. It's brilliant and beautiful. It's poetry of life. It's beauty and pessimism.